Every year on Thanksgiving, we eat turkey. It's a tradition for a lot of American families, and when we first started farming with chickens. Because we love doing chickens, last year I had the great idea that we would start farming some turkeys and see what that was like. Now we'll back up and tell you that in 2017, when we first got our farm, the month before we got to the privilege of going to Polyface.
While we were at Polyface, we saw Joel raising production turkeys. Joel raised production turkeys in a grass-based system with a mobile coop, similar to what we have here, but on a much bigger scale.
While we were at Polyface, Joel talked a whole lot about why he raised production birds over heritage birds. I thought heritage birds would be where we would eventually go, but last year, when we were at Southern States, they had 10 mammoth bronze turkeys, and these turkeys had not been picked up from someone who had ordered them. The turkeys were priced at a good price, and they'd already had them for several weeks, so they were a little bit older than what the turkeys generally are when you bring them home, by about 3 weeks. So that was the birds that we wound up starting with because of cost and wanting to just see what it was like to actually raise turkeys. We knew we loved to raise poultry in general. We've loved having chickens. We had already at this point raised a set of broiler chickens. So we knew that chickens were something that we enjoyed doing. We had already slaughtered chickens, so we knew that we could slaughter the turkeys. However, the mammoth bronze turkeys that we got them in May of last year. So by the time November rolled around, when we wanted to have them for Thanksgiving, our turkeys were about 22 to 27 pounds once processed. That made a bird that was too big to sell, and most of the people that purchased turkeys from us were asking for turkeys that were 10 pounds, but our turkeys were 22 to 27, so they were really hard in this area to get the right size for people to be able to purchase them. So we wound up losing some money on them last year.
So last year's mammoth bronze, when it come time for processing, it was hard to process a bird that weighs in excess of 20-25 pounds. We have a homemade plucker. We have homemade kill cones. The turkeys ended up destroying the kill cones in the process. The plucker wasn't big enough. We ended up plucking everybody by hand. The scalding was really, really hard because we weren't suited for it. From learning about that, we built a bigger scalder. We've got a bigger motor to put on our plucker, but I don't think we're going to have time to actually make those changes. So we're going to see how processing goes this year with smaller birds.
One of the things that I didn't like about last year's bird when I went to cook it was that with the mammoth bronze, you get these little black spots in the skin. Now, Joel had talked about that and had said that's why he raised the production white birds. So this year when I went to order turkeys, I ordered mostly production white birds. But I couldn't let go of the idea that maybe we should raise some heritage birds. So I had this bright idea that we would order mostly production white and then order some heritage birds so that we could see what that was like. That has proved to be a major challenge.
Raising heritage birds are always a challenge. The biggest challenge that I have to struggle with is chasing down birds that like to jump over this little net and be free. They're made to be free. They enjoy being free, and they're fairly good at being free. So keeping them caged up in even a mobile pen isn't an ideal situation in their mind. Our only real remedy for birds that like to be free is clipping wings, just so they can't fly, but they can still jump, and they can still get out if they choose to.
Our production white birds are not able to jump the fence and get out like the heritage birds do. But for some reason we found that they have been picking on the heritage birds. I guess because the heritage birds are much smaller. So unfortunately, we have actually lost several heritage birds from not being able to separate the flock. We don't have an extra fence laying around in order to make them into separate things. So we've lost several of our heritage birds just due to bullying. One day, a couple of weeks ago, my son came in with a black Spanish turkey that a white bird had bullied, but it was still living. So we tried to help it and let it stay in with our silky hens so that it would stay there and recuperate and get better. We had checked on it several times throughout the day, but when we came out in the evening to feed the birds, he was going to take the turkey back to the regular turkeys if it was well enough, and it had disappeared. So my only guess is that it actually jumped out of our silky fence and ran away, and we've never seen it again. So that's kind of some of the issues that we have had this year with the heritage birds that we don't normally have with the production birds. These white birds, if you can see their breast, let's see if I can bring it here. If you can see that first one's breast, the breast prevents it from being able to jump over that fence. We don't have to clip any of the wings, and I suspect when we process, because the wings are white, we'll have nice clean skin with no black dots. Or at least that's what Joel Salatin has told us will happen when we process.
So this is a close-up of our 500-gallon water containment system. You can see it's got a simple hand valve with just regular roll pipe. Most any plumbing warehouse will have that. Of course, Lowe's Hardware is a great place to go also. Our water supply is at the house. We don't have outdoor faucets, so we have to run garden hose all the way from there up to here. But we have enough hose to do that, but we can't water everything else. Our turkeys are kept inside of a polywire fence. This fence is really just to keep predators out. You notice we have a green wire and an orange wire. This one doesn't require grounding off to the ground. It's got the ground and the hot in the same fence. This is the water jug for the turkeys. It's gravity fed. It holds 8 gallons of water, and it works really well. The turkeys roost on an old tobacco trailer. I picked this up from a guy looking to just get rid of it. I did paint the wheels, and I put a tent on top of it. It keeps the rain off the turkeys, even though they don't particularly care unless it is raining. We also get our non-GMO feed, about 300 pounds at a time, in a 55-gallon pickle barrel. The pickle barrel is food safe, and it's watertight. It's also easy to move, and we also don't have to rely on bags cluttering up our feed barn. These turkeys just recently moved here from the previous paddock. So even though it looks like a lot of grass out here now, within 4 or 5 days we'll be moving them again, and they'll mow down some more grass for us. For our turkey feed, we do use a broiler mix made up by our feed mill. We also additionally add fish meal into the mix to give a higher protein ratio to grow turkeys. It takes a whole lot of feed. They like to eat everything. Here we see 3 stages of pastured turkeys. Over in the green spot, that's short grass. That's regenerating grass where they were. The spot where the chickens, it looks kind of dead and dirt field. That's the spot where they just moved from today. And over here is some fresh grass where they're gonna mow down, and we'll move them later.